Tom is here. Tell us about this one, Tom. You have to unmute yourself, bud.
All right, there. Um, yeah, this I don't have great stories with this. This is picked from my backyard. So
Yeah, but you tell us about the camera you used and
yeah, well, so this is my new medium format camera. It's the Fuji 50S 50R actually with a macro lens. It's 120, but really it's 100 crop sensor because the full frames are crop sensors, right? So it's really 100 millimeter full frame. But yeah, so this was growing in my backyard, and I've since planted some more poppies. So hopefully next year I'll have some other different colors other than orange. But I picked it and I brought it upstairs to kind of a white box I've got with I backlit with LEDs. I had to actually go into Photoshop and kind of make sure that it was pure white. So I did some of that by taking the subject and masking out everything else and just making the background just pure white. So this is a little overexposed. I kind of wanted that looking on the edges where it just kind of blends in a little bit with the white background. So it looks like it's kind of merging in the background, but that's basically it. I mean, the full frontal is natural light coming from the window on the front. On the back is just an LED off of a whiteboard, and that's really all there is to it. I mean, otherwise, yes. On the inside part of it, whatever you call that, the very dark red part, word for that. I actually used a little LED light to, get some light on there so it wasn't totally black.
Yeah. Well, I like this one a lot because it looks like it's moving. I mean, it looks like there's wind blowing it from left to right, and the edges of the flower are frayed like a flag would be if it was out in the wind for too long.
Poppies are amazing.
Yeah, so that's why it looks very delicate but sturdy at the same time. So I think it's pretty cool.
They all wilt after about 20 minutes. I mean, poppies don't.
Yeah.
Poppy is not something you put in the water.
Yeah, beautiful. There's I think you have maybe about 6 or 7 others, not just poppies, but my favorite one is I forgot what it is, the blue one on the left. That has the drooping petals. An iris, maybe? No. Oh well, I give up on my botany, but it's I like that one as well.
I think it was a hosta that you were looking at, right? Slightly out of focus.
No, it's on the left-hand side at the top of in the gallery. It's the only one. It's the only one that's like that. Anyway.
Okay.
We'll move on. Susan. Oh, yeah. Did I spell your name wrong, Susan? I don't think I did I?
No.
Okay.
Susan Larkin.
Susan
Left
is.
The C is for crane. That's all.
Oh yeah, I forgot the C. I'm sorry. Susan is joining us from Ithaca, where she resides, but shares her work in the gallery many times. Please, Susan, tell us about this one and about your book.
My book talks. It came from it's the pandemic, and we're staying at home, and I take photography at Tompkins Cortland Community College every semester. And the focus of photography class was sense of place. And I also was preparing for an exhibit with my one partner at State of the Art Gallery, where I am a member. So there we are, and here's where I live on a hill just east of Ithaca. And I was in the woods, and I've been, maybe you remember from your gallery, spending a lot of time with flowers and especially seed pods. And somehow, just with 1 or 2 pictures, something happened with trees, and I stopped looking at seed pods and I started looking at trees. So I spent the whole summer in the woods studying, thinking about trees. This is a root of a fallen over pine tree that I walked past hundreds of times. And I've always looked at it and said, well, it was like a little, I don't actually even know that I saw this top of it very carefully until I did. It's the point of my yapping here is that you can look at the same thing again and again and again and again and again, and then suddenly, whoops, you see something else. Because trees are in a different time frame than we are. I mean, I'm from Oak Ridge Drive in Irondequoit. Oak Ridge Drive, all those oaks. The only tree in life that I remember is this giant oak that was behind the house. And oaks can live to be 900 years old. I have no idea how old that tree was in the 50s while I was growing up. I expect it's still there. So that's it. I think this is probably focus stack. I did a little focus stacking in the woods, nowhere near as much as I did with seed pods.
Yeah.
If there are questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So the top looks like a hydra. That's what it reminds me of. You look at a hydra in high school under a microscope.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Sure. Oh,
many of you
definitely.
don't.
It's a creature to me. There's no doubt.
Yeah, many of you don't know, and I'll share a little thing about this. Susan lived one street away from me when I was growing up, and went to the same high school as me. And I didn't know about. I don't think we knew each other until we got involved in photography later on in our lives. Crazy, huh?
True.
Thank you, Susan.
True story.
My favorite,
Yeah.
one of my favorite pictures in your book is you and your
You're welcome.
husband standing outside your house that you've been in for
Yeah.
what, 47 years,
That's right.
but you look like you're 12 years old.
48. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
You were all that age once. Remember?
Yeah. Steve's here. I saw him, I think.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. Tell us about this, Steve. Steve is mastering the art of putting these photo montages together.
So it was the peak of quarantining when the gallery was closed, restaurants were closed, the gym was closed, and I was in the basement and just letting my imagination go totally. And looking at pictures that I had taken from many different places and then combining them and not really having an end in sight, just sort of working. And these pictures just sort of appear after working on them for a while. And this one is called The End ? And I think subconsciously, if you were a Freudian psychiatrist or psychologist, you would probably say, I got big problems, but it's clearly not an upbeat picture. It's not like Clyde's Bird in the Tree with the Snow, but it sort of viscerally hit me when I did it. And I sort of finished and said, gee, where'd that come from? So the print in the gallery is very large of this. And I think it's just something that I'm really proud of that came out of who knows where my subconscious.
Steve, how many photos are in here, are part of this?
Oh, I don't know. Let me think. The faces have been duplicated multiple times. The ocean, the sky, and the broken glass. So there are really 4 primary photographs, and then there are background layers and top layers and controlling layers. So this probably took at least 24 hours, well, at least a full day to put together and try different things.
So I know Steve's been working hard at many main media workshops to work on this technique, and I think every time you do these, you get better than the time before. So very good shot here. This is a photo of mine, and it's kind of a mirror image in many ways. Many probably are familiar with this down by Lakeshore Boulevard. And Lakeshore Boulevard is out in the, about the middle. You can see the road on the middle third on the right-hand side. What's interesting though is obviously the reflection in the water is a reflection of the trees right above it, but it's also been flipped horizontally. And it's flipped horizontally for a reason. If people, it's awkward when you do this with your own photograph because you knew what you took. And this is not what I took. I took the reverse of this. But the reason I did it is because when we read from left to right, we also read from dark to light. And this, if it was the other way around, the way it was properly taken, many people would read the light part and would never get to the dark part. This I intended people, I think it makes people look at the dark part first because we read left to right and move towards the right. So I think it's the intention for doing it like this was to make people read through the photograph rather than just stop at the bright part. I don't know if that's fair in landscape photography, is it, to alter things like that?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I guess. But I kind of like this a lot.
Ask Steve.
Ask Steve, yeah. Okay, I'll move on. Jim, I'm glad you joined us tonight because this is my favorite photograph in your set of images. Can you tell us where you were and how you got this? Jim might be.
I think can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right. It was good because when I started to speak, a little sign came up that said you're muted. This thing really works. Anyhow,
Talks to you.
I put my show together this time from recycled photos and that I showed before, but my theme in the show was blue pictures. So every picture I have in the gallery, there's 10 of them, are all blue as a predominant color. How clever. Anyhow, I was in, this was my third trip to Cuba, and I was in Baracoa. And Baracoa is just about as far east as you can be in Cuba before you are off in the water again. And it's kind of where all the revolutions have started, and then Castro came back. He all started around there, very close to Guantanamo. Anyhow, I was out on a day taking pictures, and I really like when I take street photography pictures, what I like to do is line myself up with a very interesting background. So I thought the doorways and everything was a great background. And I sat there for maybe 20 minutes just taking pictures of everything that walked between me and the background. And this woman with this great matching umbrella was the best of all the things that came through. So this is the picture that I really liked the best from Baracoa, Cuba a few years ago.
Great. So you employed one of the street photographer's best techniques, I think, is you find yourself a stage and you sit there in the audience and you wait for the actors to walk into your stage. And that's what you did here, and it worked out really well. Love the colors, love the balance. Everything works well with this photo.
And the fact you don't see her face makes it even better.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And she's not flipping you off either for taking her picture.
Well,
so.
she did right afterwards. She did.
Thanks, Jim. Oops. Uh-oh. There we go. Luann.
Okay. This is one of my favorite places on Lake Road. I go here often, often every couple of months. But I like this one when it was snowing because you got the snow showing on the dark parts of the tree, and you can see it in the water as well. And the water, it was kind of foggy out on the water. So I got a little bit of snow showing there. It's not much to say about it other than I just love this spot. I love the trees. They're growing. Every time I go, they're a little bit bigger. Now they have children there, so there are a lot of toys in the yard, so I have to kind of clone the toys out, but it's a lovely place. And
This is somebody's yard?
yes, it is somebody's yard. Yeah. I'm thinking I'm going to take a couple of pictures over and give them to them because I've spent so much time there taking pictures of their trees. So
Oh, it's really nice.
thanks.
There are some things I think sometimes subconsciously we don't think about when we shoot. I mean, the snow on the dark trees is great. I like, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but I like this angle up here of the trees. A lot of people would have just shot it straight across, but I like this up here.
Yeah. I like the bottom snow as well. And the birdhouse that's there. There's a couple more birdhouses now, so
Yeah.
it's a great
Cool.
place.
Thank you for sharing.
Thanks.
Anthony's here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, talk about this one, Anthony. Is this one on metal? Maybe this is the one I was thinking about.
No, it's all the acrylic plexi
That's right.
pieces. So this is the Lake Placid area. It's Whiteface Mountain in the backdrop and a little shack kind of positioned in the far right. And it's a pond that I was unfamiliar with until this year, but kind of became a classic go-to spot for me in the months of September and October. And I probably went back around 5 or 6 times and, shot it several weekends in a row. And
Is that Connery Pond?
It is. It is. I was not familiar with it, like I said, up until this year, and I've been up in the Adirondacks quite a bit, and mostly for hiking. And this is 5-10 minutes right outside of Lake Placid. It's right there. But it's just a stunning location, very easy to get to. And like I said, I was there quite a few weekends and really just waited for great light. And this was probably my favorite day, favorite sunrise. Love the kind of the contour and the way the light was hitting the clouds, and just a classic landscape spot. So I was pretty pleased with this. I have so many different versions of it, but everything kind of just came together. Clouds, the mist, a little bit of the fall foliage. To get this shot, I pretty much walked into the pond and, planned to have some waders on so I can get a little bit deeper than probably where most people go to take this shot.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Anthony, you have a remarkable eye, especially for color and symmetry, and it shows in all your work. And we're glad that you show with us as often as you do.
Thank you.
Oops. Sorry about that. Thanks again for doing that. And this, folks, you should stop down and see the rest of Anthony's work. He's, I think, a graphic artist. Is that your title of your job?
Well, I'm a medical illustrator by trade,
Okay.
actually.
But you have a great eye for photography. It's wonderful to see it. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks.
Oops. Not sure why my mouse is not moving. Let's try that. There we go. Okay. I don't think John's with us unless he came in without me seeing him. Okay. Well, I will speak for John. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a photographer named Pep, P-E-P, Ventosa. When we were in Toronto at the Toronto Photography Festival one year, we saw these remarkable images that look just as good as this. I mean, John's looks just as good as this guy. His were selling for $2,000 and $3,000. They were pretty large. But basically, the technique here is to find an object like this and walk around it 360 degrees, big circle, and take a lot of pictures. And then you overlay them together, and in the layers, you change the opacity of different layers. So this is actually a 360 degree picture all the way around the trunk of the tree. But it's the style is Pep Ventosa. If you ever wanted to look him up, it's a fun thing to do, to try. And there's a lot of different ways to do it, and what moves and what doesn't move. And there are sometimes you take them in complete circles. Sometimes you take it in a straight line, but you go from left to right and shoot back towards the center. Lots of, he's done some city stuff where he's picked on one clock in a city scene, and that's the only thing that's not blurry like this. Only the clock's face, because that's what he used to focus on his movement. But it's a fun thing to try. Dick Thomas is here, right? We'll wait for him to unmute if he is. Maybe he isn't. Okay. Dick's shown with us a lot. We really want to thank a lot of you folks that have been coming in and showing with us, especially during this COVID situation. We're determined to make it through the year and next year. Michelle is here.
I'm here.
That looks like a painting. Michelle, tell us how you did this.
Well, it's a photograph taken at Lamberton Conservatory of a cactus with one flower blooming. And I took it a couple years ago, and I liked the photograph just straight, but I decided at some point to start trying to do a little artistic something with some of the photographs. And so 4 of the photographs that are in the show, the holiday show, have all gone through like a painterly process. They're all different. This one happens to have gone through an oil editing program. And there's another one that's sort of an antiquing, which gives you sort of a, you know, a ripped paper kind of a look in the background. And then there's a pen and ink kind of a one. And sometimes it's a takeoff on Van Gogh, and sometimes it's an Andy Warhol takeoff. This particular software program, and please don't ask me because I can't remember the name of it. I just know where it is on my computer. It has like hundreds of different variations on the theme. And so, you know, you can go through and get yourself totally overwhelmed with all the possibilities. But, you know, I tend to like these oil ones, the kind of Van Gogh-ish look, and although not extremely that way, but kind of an oil look. And when you look at the actual print, it does look, as Don says, like, you know, kind of the oil was laid on pretty thick.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it actually is a photograph.
Is this Santa Claus back here?
Is it what? Oh, yeah, I know. It does sort of look that way, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's sort of a pleasant photograph that I would envision somebody liking over their living room sofa if it happened to match their colors, you know.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for sharing. Oops. That would be the end. Let me unshare these. I'm glad you guys joined us tonight. One of the things that we always miss at the gallery is the conversation that we just had among fellow photographers, and techniques we use, and why we shot the things we shot, and what we did with them afterwards or beforehand, or how we planned them. It's our craft that we all love. So I'm glad you could join us. I hope if you're participating in the gallery in the near future, you'll join us again until we can have actual live receptions. The only thing we're missing is some food, somehow to share that. Anyway, anybody have anything they'd like to add? You're all so vocal. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great holiday.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.